Brian, it's a real pleasure and an honor to see your 10th speech, and it's an honor to be able to evaluate it. You've only been in Toastmasters for a little over a year, and that's about a speech a month, which is a fairly good clip. You've been a strong speaker since the very beginning, so it's been a real pleasure to watch your progress from a good speaker to an even better speaker. You really grabbed us from the beginning with the quote, so it seemed apparent that you were doing some kind of role play with the clipboard and talking to us as if we were a team, and I mentally made a note of saying something like, well, if he's going to be doing a role play and we're supposed to be a team, then that should have been established beforehand. However, as it was given, it was very effective, because there was that little uncertainty about whether the whole speech was going to be a role play like that, or whether that was just being used as an attention grabber. And as a motivational speech, it's kind of hard to beat that one, except maybe with the Knut Rockne one, which of course was brought in later. So that was a very effective grabber to that. I liked your use of some of the repetitive things, like the call and the response, the motivation, dedication, motivation. You pulled the audience in, and that really got us going on that. There was, you had to use your plant for the first response of the can't lose one. I don't watch the show, so I didn't know what that was. But you got us on the second one, and that was a very effective way to close it. A couple suggestions. First, after the hockey quote, you kind of launched right into the speech. I think a little bit of a pause to show that there was a transition might have made that a little bit more effective. And even though the speech was very well organized in terms of going down the different dimensions of motivation, it would have helped to have a little bit of a tell-em. You don't want to necessarily structure every speech into a boilerplate type of thing, but it would have helped at the beginning for us to be able to follow you, to have some kind of structure, know where you were going about the different dimensions of motivation, how you're going to talk about it. My primary suggestion has to do with its relevance to the audience. The purpose of the speech is to inspire the audience and to appeal to our higher motives. And the field of sports is of course a natural one for that kind of thing. And every example that you used was from the field of sports. But we're not all athletes. We're not all necessarily involved with that. And so I think it would have reached us even more if you had brought some of the examples back into something that we all have in common. Perhaps as a Toastmaster, to kind of charge through to overcome whatever fears we might have. Maybe in our use of speaking in our job or something like that. How can we use what we're learning from you to help carry us forward past a difficult time, or to overcome some sort of difficulty or hardship? So I think that would have helped us to really get a little bit more out of the speech. But as it was, of course, the examples were all fantastic. I mean, the classic speeches, you really wrapped that up for us. And the clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose thing was a very effective way to end it. Again, normally in the boilerplate, tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you're going to tell them, the conclusion tries to wrap it up. However, for a speech like this, that was a very effective way to do it, because in a way that was the summation of the whole thing, both in the response and the fact that as an audience we were actually participating in it. So definitely very, very effective. My only comments about just some of the ways in which it were presented had to do with your use of the room. I think particularly for a motivational speech, you really want to kind of get out there and kind of get into it. You were very effective at using the low energy to draw us in. I mean, when you lowered your voice, and we were right there with you. That was an excellent thing. I was a little surprised. I expected to see more high energy. I think that particularly for you raised the energy at a couple times, especially when you say fear, things like that. But mostly the energy level was a little bit lower than I think might have been effective for a speech like this that was expected to motivate us. So overall, though, the purpose of the speech was to inspire this. I certainly felt inspired, and I think that most of us also felt inspired by these examples, and we're also inspired by your example. And with that, I really look forward to hearing advanced speeches from you in whatever you may be doing, and congratulations on achieving your CC, Mr. President.